You're listening to the 90-10 rule. 90% business,
10% music.
Today on the 90-10 rule, we discuss radio play and promotion, becoming a business, and the political undertow that keeps most artists out of the top 10. But first, this.
Never did I see you coming, but babe, I see you not for nothing. Hey, look, I gotta tell you something. You're about to be my husband. And yeah, you laughing like I'm bluffing, but I get just what I wanted. Right now, you are all I'm wanting. Quit that front, babe. Please don't act like you don't want it, babe. And you know you're coming home with me. I hit you with that role reversal game. I think it's time you knew my name. I'm kind of a big deal, you should ask around. My skin smells of mahogany. All my books are leather bound. And I could take you higher, up to pleasure town. If you let me love you down, I'll take you up to pleasure town. I had to send that out, to send it back if you don't want it. But look, I wanna be up on you. I wanna be on you. I mean, that thing is good, I just wanna be on you. Gotta be on you, I wanna be on you.
That was Dina Joe with Pleasure Town. You can find her at soundcloud.com/Dina Joe Music. Joe is spelled Jeaux.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 90-10 rule. I'm Kevin Davis, and as always, I got my brother B. Jennings with me.
What's going on, Kev?
Yo, what's going on, man? And on the line right now, man, I got a good brother. I'm glad he made some time in his busy schedule to join us. David Anderson, what's going on, sir?
Man, if I had your hands, I'd cut mine off.
Why on earth would you do that?
It's just some old people say. I just think it's cool.
It does sound flat. You know, you try to be gratitude to the next party. Hey, I can't call it. You got it, brother. All right.
I can't kill it and it won't die.
Is that like the old black man greeting? Is it in the handbook? I think it may be in the handbook.
I ain't been to a few black people meetings, so it's been a minute.
I'll check again. Well, yo, Dave, man, I'm glad you could join us, brother. I wanted to have you on the show in particular because not only do you have you've been a radio producer, you got a huge background in radio, but the things that you are doing with this book about entrepreneurialism and the business bully, oh my God, like I had to have you here because there's so much information that people need to know about, man. Matter of fact, do you want to give them an intro on the book and kind of tell them what's what?
Yeah, I wrote this book simply because it's called Pitch, Close, Upsell, Repeat. You can get it at fine bookstores everywhere, Amazon.com. It's #1 in 3 countries. I wrote the book primarily for people of our generation because our parents really weren't big on entrepreneurialism. Our parents were kind of on this, and when I say that, I mean our parents' generation was more about go to school, go to college, get a job, go get a good job and retire from it. And then, our generation is faced with things like being laid off, being pushed out, downsized, downtrodden, kicked out, systematic white supremacy, things of that nature. And so what winds up happening is we have to fend for ourselves in a world that really doesn't care about us. Statistically, 300,000 people who have MBAs list tending bar as their main occupation. So that basically means from the time that you get out of college or graduate school, you're anywhere from $30,000 to $130,000 in debt. So something had to be done. And what I realized is it came down to not necessarily having a business as much as it is being able to sustain that business through knowing how to sell and knowing how to talk to people and knowing how to convey a message in a clear, concise manner. And that's where Pitch, Close, Upsell, Repeat came from. And I'm just blessed and humbled that it's taken off.
Okay, awesome. Because I felt like with some of the things that you say in your book and you've talked about on social media, I feel like a lot of, in particular, young artists, because the industry's changed. The industry's changed. Yeah, there's still people being discovered and kind of going through that process of the record label, but I think there's a lot more people who are building home studios and recording and mixing and putting out their own music and doing their own tours and so on and so forth. And so a lot of the transferable skills, like I think there are people out there that think about the music business as if it is an entity unto itself, as if there are things that, like if you do music or if you've been in the music industry, nothing that you've done there can apply anywhere else. And I think that's false.
Absolutely, it's false. I think what it comes down to in this day and age is that people want to find the path of least resistance. People just want to go do what it is that they want to do without having to put any hard work in. There's no sweat equity. There's nothing really to show for it. And this whole idea that somehow Puffy is just going to descend from the clouds and come and just pick you out of obscurity and make you a star. Statistically, Diddy is like, if he was a basketball player, he would be like Manute Bol. You know what I mean? Because he's like, what, 2 and 38? You know, out of the 40 artists he signed, if you think I'm lying, let's just run this down for a minute. Where's Donnie Klang? Where's Dream? Fuzz Bubble? Black Rob? G-Dep? Several incarnations of Mace. You see what I'm saying? Like, it comes down to people would rather put themselves into slavery to get 8% of the work they took 100% of their life to come up with, while 92% goes someplace else, but all the expenses come out of your 8%. That to me is just like dumb sucker shit. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cuss, but sometimes it just comes out.
You straight, man. We a podcast, yo.
Oh, yeah, good point. Yeah, just dumb sucker shit. You know, and it gets to a place where it's like, why don't you get this? And the reason that they don't get it is because our people do not control any type of narrative. We don't understand that the media is there to entertain. I don't care if you're watching BET or the 6 o'clock news. It is not there to educate you or inform you. It is there to control a certain narrative. There is a reason that it's called programming. When I was a radio producer, I was in the programming department. When I was a program director, I was in the programming department. We do not make any decisions. People take what we do naturally and then they trademark it, copyright it, and then go out and market it to us. And then we buy it in droves with none of the profits.
And
that goes from Jordans to hair weaves.
Can you dig a little deeper into we don't make any of the decisions? Kind of bring that home for people because I don't think they know what you mean.
Okay. Let's just take the radio industry, for example. People have this misconception because they've grown up watching TV and movies and they see these alleged reality shows about radio personalities and they think, oh, that must be how it is. And when I say that, the whole, hey, this is radio station, whatever. Hi, yeah, I'm calling in and I want to hear this song. And they're like, you got it instantly. Never happens. When I was programming in Austin, Texas for CBS, and I was programming a rap station, every record, right down to the mix shows, was already decided weeks in advance. Mm-hmm. And when it comes down to it, the record labels have what are called ad dates. So the record labels decide which singles come out. They decide when they want them all to go, and then they want a certain amount of spins from certain stations in certain areas. And they'll work a record regionally and then move it up. So a record from like somebody big in the South, you know, T.I. notwithstanding, but somebody big in the South will play in the South first, and then 6 weeks later it'll wind up in the North. But it is already set. There is no more of this, oh, I'm a local guy. I'm going to get all my friends, my baby's mamas, all 7 of them if I'm Future, and I'm going to have them just flood the radio station with requests. It's not going to happen. All you're going to do is just have a higher phone bill and wasted time. So this illusion of actually having a vote, you're going to be able to vote Hillary Clinton in the office before you'll ever vote a record onto the radio. And we both know you don't get no control over a presidential election.
Damn.
So
I think
you have no control.
I just sobered me up.
I think we need to have actually a moment of silence for your plan, your marketing plan, listeners, that you had to go pay the radio station DJ to put your song in rotation.
Now, let's talk about PAOLA for a minute.
All right.
Okay. It's amazing to me, something that has been going on since Marconi flipped the switch, or Tesla, depending on who you ask, is criminal when black people do it. But the radio stations do it all the time, and here's what I mean. There is an entity of people who are called indies. Now, it is illegal for a a record company to give a radio station money in order to play a record. That is illegal. That is PAOLA. Okay?
Right.
It is illegal for a record company to go to a radio station and say, we'll pay you if you just mention our artist. That is called plug-ola. However, if there's an indie that has a promotional budget that the record label gives to him so that he can go out and provide promotional consideration to the radio station, then that's totally legal. But me giving a mix show guy $200 to spin my record, you know what I'm saying? That's somehow illegal, and that's that'll get you a $10,000 fine and this, that, and the third. Depending on who you are, there's 3 people in the radio station that may have a little leeway. They are the program director. There is the mix show coordinator, and then there's always one-off show. There's always like the night jock or something like that who can probably get away with just a little bit of flexibility on the playlist. And so you may be able to toss them a couple dollars, but for the most part, you just took your money and you just spent it on, somebody's baby mama going out to Sizzler or something.
Hey, but you know what? In regards to Playola or Plug-ola, I'm like, I think everybody understands or recognizes that that's illegal. But who's going to enforce those rules? Because it's not like records aren't getting sponsored, if you will, as they are, like as it is. The system's already in place.
Yeah, those rules are strictly designed, in my personal opinion, to disenfranchise black people who aren't getting paid what they're worth. Let me give you some math so you can understand why I no longer do radio.
All right.
When I was in Nashville, when you and I met, Kevin, right? Mm-hmm. I was in my mid-20s. I was making maybe $30,000 a year at the radio station, but I made $80,000 on the streets.
Right.
So if I'm making $30,000 a year, right? And because this is where it gets tricky. Now, each commercial break, there's 2 commercial breaks every hour for 5 hours that I'm on the air from 7 to midnight. Each one of those spots is $500 for a 60-second spot. 5 times 5 is 25. So how much money did I make for that radio station where I'm number 2, but everybody else in every other day part on my radio station is between 14th and 17th place? My commercial breaks were sold out. I'm not making a tenth of what I'm bringing in, because I would bring in on average anywhere between $2 to $3 million a year. I didn't see a tenth of that. I didn't even see 5% of that.
So you're saying that you just to summarize thus far, you're saying that the radio station was bringing in $2 to $3 million a year in advertisements, but they were only paying you roughly $30,000.
Roughly, not accounting appearance money and stuff like that. But I made my money in the streets, like with mixtapes and things of that nature, and like TV stuff and different appearances. And
oh yeah, baby got to eat. We gonna finagle a bagel now.
No, you already know that's what we do.
It out.
But here's the ill stuff. Now there were people in that building in that company that I was beating in the ratings, but they played country music or they were sports talk, and they were making $2-3 million a year, but not even bringing anywhere near the revenue I was bringing. You see what I'm saying? Mm. And when that radio station folded, even though I had box seats to the Predators games, which is a NHL team, I had box seats. Like, I know hockey, I know baseball, I know sports. Do you think they offered me a job anywhere else, even though there were openings? No, because they saw me as the black jock who could only do black radio.
Oh, yeah, you're the one they have to use, because I can use you to go talk to them, because I can't talk to them. You know their language, so you go.
Go speak to them.
Go David, do your thing.
You talk that Negro Bob talk.
Do that David thing, yeah.
Do that thing. Yeah, man, I'm not really here for it. If you think that that's a marketing strategy, you're a moron. Hate to break it to you.
Can we dig a little deep? I want to dig one more level down, if you don't mind. Okay, so let's say 8 years ago, maybe, I was managing an artist, and this artist was adult contemporary. So that's like the Tom Joyner morning show and the Steve Harvey show. Yeah. And we were setting up to pay a radio promo guy, or indie as you call him. Mm-hmm. And basically he was telling us it was about $80,000 to run one record. Mm-hmm. give the listeners a little bit of an idea of if that's urban adult contemporary, what does that mean for like a top 40 station or urban, or, you know, do you have the idea, like a ballpark figure? So if these guys are here trying to do their radio promo budget.
Look at it like this, right? What you're talking about when you're doing urban adult contemporary, let me translate. That's mom and pop music. That is Jeffrey Osborne. That's Anita Baker, Luther Vandross, Kim, Angie Stone, Jaheim. Anybody who can actually sing goes on urban AC. So that's where you were trying to get that record pop for about $80,000, right, which is just about right. And depending on what they'll do, they'll send out campaigns. They'll grease some palms on your behalf, so you never get your hands dirty. For an urban mainstream hip hop station, you could probably tack on another $30,000 of that. For pop, you might as well come with $200,000 and nothing else. That's just speaking regionally.
That's what I wanted. That's what I want our listeners to know.
He slick dropped the mic right there, like, because there's nothing else to say.
I need him to know that, though.
Yeah.
No. You know, I'm just sick of people having these illusions like it's going to happen. And let me tell you something else. 95% of y'all ain't got no talent. I will tell you, and anybody who knows me can attribute to this. You're talking to somebody who has several awards. I made records. You know what I'm saying? So I know what a hit is. I mean, I've made records with Bun B. I've made records with 3-6. Like, you know, I've done records. You know what I'm saying? And it's not an easy game. And I was on the radio. I had records that were charting. And even still, it's not easy. The Ludacris thing will never happen again. Ever. Master P will never happen again. Cash Money will never happen again. And I am going to tell you why. The people who are trying to make it have a brain. And even the ones who do have talent, let's just separate the 95. Let's deal with the 5% that do have talent. Those people will never, ever, ever get there. And I will tell you why. The people who own the record companies, not the record labels, the people who own the record companies do not look like you. And they have an agenda. And that agenda is to make sure that you don't do anything revolutionary, that you don't pick yourself up, that you don't believe in you, that you don't look into that mirror and see 500 years of self-worth, struggle, and progress. They don't want you to see anything beyond what you see every day, which is, let's just review this. If you're living in the hood, you have three things you see every day. You see a liquor store, you see dope dealers and or dope and its mass byproducts, and then you see the church. None of those things are any good for you. And because none of those things are any good for you, you continue to just dwell in that. And anything that would probably lift you out of oppression will never see the light of day. You can give me any type of name that you want, and I will prove to you that that company is not black.
Hey, so matter of fact, let me ask you this then, because as a do-it-yourselfer, like, you met me when I was an artist and I was running the streets of Nashville, promoting myself, promoting my homeboys and my label, and doing our thing, right?
Yes, indeed.
So now, as a business person, right, I'm promoting my product, which is my music.
Yeah.
And in that, I am savvy enough to say, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing here, or I don't have enough information here. I want to go out and I'm going to hire a radio promotion expert. I need a radio promotion specialist, someone who has done this before, who does it for a living, who has promoted popular records that I've already heard on the stations that I want my record to be on. Matter of fact, I don't know if you remember JC, right? Another Nashville artist. Yeah, you probably. I hope you remember.
One of our guests.
Yeah. I think that was what, because he was early
Episode
number
2.
Yeah, so listeners, check rule 2.
Yep.
Rule number 1, rule number 2.
No shelf life.
Yes, rule number 2. All right, so JC was on here and he was talking about how he was going about getting his record promoted. I think what, 10 grand, 15 grand. Guy disappeared.
I'm so
gave
surprised.
him the record, gave him the check, dude disappeared.
Go on, imagine.
And now and especially for an independent artist, you've invested 15 grand into promoting your product, and now you right back to square one because nobody still hasn't heard the record.
Yep.
I can't remember if it was the one that he was talking about with Rick Ross, or he had another record with Future. One of the two. It was one of them records that should have gone, could have gone, didn't.
And the great part about it is, and when I say great, I'm saying that tongue in cheek, but the great part about it is you can't sue the dude because everything you're doing is illegal. You can't call the cops because that's like calling the cops because somebody stole your crack. Like, you're done.
Right.
It's over with.
It's the principle.
You take that money. Okay, you want a real tip? You indie people who still have dreams of rapping outside of your cousin's basement, here you go. Take that money, right, and put it into doing something that makes sense. Get you some tastemakers. Get you some YouTubers, some Snapchatters. Spend that money on people who are on TV. Spend that money on people who actually have an audience and have influence on them on the internet. And I mean real influence, you know, and do it that way. But trying to do it through traditional means or some kind of backdoor means is not going to work. I don't care how big the DJ's name is locally. He has no power. This is what you call a Lady Eloise situation. No power, just the name on the package. Come bring your record to Lavender Hill.
As soon as you said Lady Eloise, my face scrunched up.
Yeah. No power.
Oh, no.
Like I said, if you name me a black record company, I will prove to you right now that it is just an REO company. Please try. I love this game.
You're not gonna get us in that one. We already know.
So you trying to hold on? You trying to tell me No Limit is not black owned?
No Limit's owned by Universal, man. Not to mention. With that situation, Master P got a beautiful deal, but let's face it, you can trace everybody who really owns that situation to somebody who's Jewish.
What about Rap-A-Lot?
Oh, well, no. What you ain't gonna do is have me see anything against Jay Prince.
Right.
Moving on.
Nah, we wasn't gonna do that, man. That's family, man. Respect to them out there.
Jay Prince has looked out for me on a lot of things. I ain't saying nothing bad about Jay Prince, so we can move on from that.
Well, I do actually want to kind of change directions a little bit because of your background in entrepreneurial things and your book. I think that if everybody who's listening right now took a step back from whatever it is they're doing, their artistry, rapping, singing, whatever it is, they took a step back, they would recognize that they're a business. So I kind of want you to go into ways that they can turn what they think of as just singing into business. What are the small things? What are the beginner steps?
Okay. First things first, if you look at, I'll give you an example of how white folks do things versus how black folks do things. And this is not somebody's better. It's just somebody has a different set of knowledge that we don't necessarily get.
So racist.
Gary Coleman died as a security guard at a mall. Okay. Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, 1 or 2 years in to Full House, had a company started by an attorney, and that company was called Dual Star. That company made them billionaires because they made sure that they turned themselves into a production company first. So let me take that down to a local level. What you need to do, first of all, is get a business license. Then you need to get a business account. Never have a sole proprietorship. If you're in the music industry, you want to have an LLC. Don't get a DBA account. I don't care what somebody tells you. They're stupid. Listen to me. Get yourself an LLC. It doesn't cost that much. Please don't use LegalZoom. Find an attorney. Get it set up. Then after that, the problem with 95% of you independent people is you want to invest in stupid things. Y'all want to look good when you're on stage to do a show that's only going to be seen by 30 people, who half of them are drunk. The remaining half of them are just trying to fuck somebody. And then there's maybe, that last quarter that is there to hear some music. And maybe out of them, half of those like you. So you're not really getting what you need to get. So you need to treat your situation like a campaign. You have to have all types of swag. And I'm not just talking about like bumper stickers and T-shirts. That's just dead as disco. I'm talking about things that are creative that people can't get enough of. Flash drives are always cool. People like storage. You want to be able to have something that makes sense. Even if you do something as creative as get little girls to put like lights on their laces on their sneakers, something dumb like that. When I was in Minneapolis, there was a show called Todd and Tyler. And Todd and Tyler is a rock show. You've never heard of them, but they're syndicated in 30 markets and they're millionaires. They went into the host hotel of this conference that I was in. And you know how you go to the bathroom in a hotel and you have the urinals, and in those urinals there's a urinal cake, and under that urinal cake there's like a pad. Mm-hmm. Their pads had their faces and said, this will be the only time you'll be able to piss on the Todd and Tyler radio empire. So by the time every radio exec walked out of the bathroom, it's like, who the fuck is Todd and Tyler, and why are they in the toilet? Y'all don't think like that.
Right.
Y'all want to be cool. Y'all so busy being cool that you broke and nobody knows who the hell you are. There is a dude, and while Kevin Davis had Hunt and Spoke, and I remember those records to this day, and that's a good decade later, there was a guy who could outmarket him and damn near every artist I've ever seen in Nashville. Couldn't rap worth for shit, but he marketed his ass off, and his name was Louie Lou. Louie Lou had some developmental issues mentally, but Louie Lou had a tape of himself rapping and being in the studio, and he took time to like color all the tapes. This is before DVD players were less than $4,000, so you're going back a ways. Anyway and anyhow, he would give these things out to everyone, and he came to the radio station with a box of them. And it was so funny, and I think he realized that even though he was kind of touched in the head, he was smart enough to realize that people find him entertaining and maybe to like one of his songs. And so every time an artist came through, and I mean everybody from Little John to 50 Cent to David Banner, I gave them a copy of this tape. Not in hopes that Louie Lou would get signed because he was hot garbage, but the shit was just so damn funny. You couldn't take your eyes off it. It was a train wreck. But y'all want to be so cool. Y'all want to look like y'all so hard. Y'all fucking all these bitches. And why you fucking all these bitches? You fucking yourself because you're not getting any traction. Nobody remembers you 5 seconds. 9 times out of 10, there are people who are paying to open up for artists for a show that just comes through town, and you're basically paying to be the dude that's on the stage while I get my girl nachos. So you got to think a few steps ahead. We're not creative anymore.
The dude that's on the stage. Oh my God! This is why I love this guy, man.
Girl nachos. Kev,
he
I know
so
you for
much.
decades. Don't act like you haven't done this.
I'm saying though, but the dude that's on the stage while I go get my girl some nachos. Oh my God!
That was.
Hey man, you gonna hurt some feelings today, man. Motherfuckers is throwing their phones.
I didn't realize I was on the Care Bear show.
But that's part of the reason they call you the business bully, because it's tough talk. I mean, it's tough talk. It is real shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm gonna lie to you. Your mama lies to you, tells you you're great. Keep at it, baby. I'm gonna tell you suck and help you.
That's real.
You know, that's the problem. We don't like constructive criticism. We can't stand it. Anybody who's giving you constructive criticism is a hater. Here's a difference between somebody who's a hater and somebody who's giving you constructive criticism. A hater does not want to see you do well. Somebody who's giving you constructive criticism is probably ahead of you, probably has their shit together, is not threatened by you in any way. I'm good. Whether you like me or not, whether you take my advice or not, it's not going to stop my books from selling. It's not going to stop my wife from being beautiful. And it's not going to stop my bills from being paid. So what do I have to gain by hating on you? But y'all don't think like that. Anytime somebody says something other than, oh, you're great, you get all butthurt and bitch made and you get mad.
Well, yeah. I mean, because music is emotional. And I put my all into it. We've been up for hours and hours and hours and doing this shit. And so, yeah, motherfuckers be sensitive and trying to figure it out, man. But, and a lot of times, once you, and I don't know if you want to take it but once you say something, a lot of times you can't take it back. You can't take it back. It's out there. So if you respond and if you're an artist and you respond to criticism in a negative way, you may think that you're only attacking or throwing something back at your quote unquote haters. I'm throwing my air quotes here.
My finger quotes?
Yeah, my fingers is jumping right. Right. So you may think you clapping back at the haters, but at the same time, you've turned off some fans that you didn't even know you had. They were interested. They were trying to see what you were about. They like what you've delivered thus far. And then they saw that interaction. They heard that interaction. And, you know what? I don't like him so much no more.
Listen, man. And like I was on the Breakfast Club a couple months ago, right? and they had asked me about Bill Cosby because I went to Temple. And I was like, y'all ready to punish Bill Cosby, but ain't nobody stopping playing the R. Kelly records. Say what you want about R. Kelly, and I've said a lot about him, but R. Kelly really is not here for your opinions. He's like, I'm still R. Kelly. I don't give a damn what you say. Even if you have the evidence, I don't give a damn what you say. You know, he has a giraffe mentality, and a lot of people have a bottom feeder mentality. Giraffe eats from the top of the trees. He can't even hear you from way up there. But y'all responding to any little thing. All I got to do is poke, and here you come. And you said this, and F the haters, and you responding to everything. Hashtag you're a punk ass. Like, stop.
And
do
you know
something
what?
Productive.
But you know what? Here's why this clapping back at the haters and constructive criticism and all that. Here's why that is so important to being able to build your business. Because one, in music, everybody is a critic. People that have no fucking idea about music, all of a sudden is a critic. Right? They hear your song and they know whether or not that's trash. They have an opinion on how you should have done whatever it was that was in your head. Right?
Right.
But these are the same people that are going to support you. These are the same people that are going to buy your record. And if you do not have thick enough skin to be able to take the criticism, to be able to brush it off, to be able to ignore it, to be able to not give a fuck, you're going to drown. You're going to drown. Absolutely. Would you agree?
I mean, it's like this, right? I remember in the mid-2000s, not too long after I left Nashville, I wound up in Austin, and I got a phone call, and it was like, yo, this is such and such. I represent Bubba Sparks. Bubba Sparks wants to meet with you. He just wants to sit down and talk. And I'm like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? I had no issue with Bubba Sparks. Ugly was a good record, whatever. And he was like, well, you know, I had this record and I had this. And, you know, he said, I know you liked Ugly, but you didn't like this, that, and the third. And I kind of wanted to know why. And I said, do you want to know? And he said, yeah. I said, I'm going to tell you. It wasn't as good. Well, why wasn't it as good? I said, because on that Ugly record, you put all your frustrations in there. The beat was banging, and I could hear that you realized that this was your moment, this was your time. And then all of a sudden, you got comfortable. You know, the quality of the women that you were messing with probably got better. The food probably got better. You know, life just got better. You and Timberland are buddy in the studio, and everything is wonderful. And you're going to suffer the same fate as Petey Pablo. And damn. I'm sorry, when's the last time you heard a Bubba Sparks record? But he took the criticism like a man. Not everybody can do that. Didn't save his career, but still.
Yeah. And make it so bad, I think I saw Petey Pablo on Empire. Real shit. I think I saw him as I think he had like a extra, or he was standing behind Terrence Howard or some shit like that.
I do not like you. That's so wrong.
Hey, man.
Hey, you know, Petey Pablo did the fatal thing you should never, ever do. There's two things you should never make as a rapper. You should never make a record that say forever, and you should never make a record where you're gloating. He didn't make a forever record, but don't act like y'all don't remember. I told y'all. It's like, no, dog. No. Shh, don't do that.
Well, you know what? Here's something that's changed dramatically too, because people already have memories for, you know, the shit that you told them back then and all of that. Like, I get that, but right. Now that we have the internet and social media, and everybody knows how to create memes and work these apps, yo, the shit that happened that you said 10, 15 years ago, that shit is alive. That shit is alive. It's real. It's on the internet. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care what Kanye does. Somebody, like, I saw something recently where they were talking about the chick, the Delta that he dated when he was in college, and it was a picture of him, of Kanye, the chick that he was dating, and Kim Kardashian. I ain't got nothing else to say. You already know where that's going. Now, why the three of them were in the picture, I have no idea. But in 2016, there was a meme about it. Floating the internet. So imagine being this chick who already broke up with Kanye. She trying to get him off her mind, so on and so forth, move on with her life. And now she happens to be scrolling down her phone. Somebody done posted this shit. Bringing up all your old shit. Yo, I'm just saying. So, being that that's the case now, yo, like, people used to be able to say shit and it would slide, and if nobody noticed, yo, everybody forgot.
Right.
Yeah, it's done. Nobody's going to bring that shit up. Not today. Not today. No. Things have changed.
And that's why I think it's more important nowadays to understand what branding is and how to, positively brand your product. David, could you give us an idea of bad branding versus good branding? This doesn't have to be related to just music. This is just period, business-wise.
All right. Okay, let's talk about good branding. Now, I will say this. If you've ever gone out to a club, never in the history of ever has anybody ever said, I want a rum and Pepsi.
A rum and Pepsi? Who the fuck eats a...
No one ever says that shit. No one, if you got a kid, like I've got 2 kids. If my kid cuts themselves, I'm not going to go to the store and grab some adhesive bandages. I'm getting a Band-Aid. Okay? Bad branding. Emojis on the side of a Pepsi bottle. For the fuck what? Makes absolutely no sense. Serves no purpose. It's just a response to a Coke situation. Bad branding is always reactionary. It is never proactive. Mm-hmm. Your brand, in a sense, when it comes to you as an individual, I don't care if you're a janitor or if you have dreams of conquering the music industry, your brand is what people are saying about you when you're not in the room. It is your reputation. It is what you are known for. It's the thing that people can identify you are as. Do you know who General Larry Platt is?
Yeah.
Most people don't, but they know Pants on the Ground.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was. Well, I had to book him, so, Looking
like a fool with your pants on the ground. Say what you want, but you know him. So, Larry Platt that's who he is, but his brand is Pants on the Ground. You see what I mean? So you have to make sure that you not only take care of your reputation, but you cultivate it and you protect it. And a lot of people don't take enough time to develop the goodwill part of their brand. They don't do anything charitable, and you should do charity for charity's sake, but you should always do charity because it's a great form of free publicity and it's good karma.
And you know what? I'm glad you said that too, man. Let me ask you this, because when people do charity and then it is broadcast as this is me, Kevin Davis, and I'm doing charity. Everybody look at me doing charity. Right? Now, I think that some people perceive that as you're trying to make yourself look good. But at the same time, I feel like there's so much, especially with rappers and other musicians, they put out so much bullshit. They show themselves in a negative light. They show themselves drinking liquor. They show themselves smoking weed. They show themselves doing all sorts of things that don't exactly add money to your wallet. However, when it comes time to charity, that's the stuff we don't show that.
Yeah, but you also have to remember who's controlling the narrative. You lived in Nashville, Tennessee. Look, man, I know plenty of country artists who have done plenty of bumps of coke in front of me. No, never a camera around, no. Never, ever. Jay-Z, gave millions to the victims of 9/11, put on a concert. Did anybody say anything? No. When Jay-Z and Beyonce bailed out all those protesters, with all this Black Lives Matter stuff that was happening, all these riots and stuff, did anybody say anything? No. But even then, when you start talking about the Illuminati and this, that, and the third, people want to talk about Jay-Z, this, that, and the third, but you never talk about the charitable works that man does. And if you do, then you try to knock him off. But then again, it's like, well, what are you doing? So it's a double-edged sword. You have to do it because it's the human thing to do. But you also have to look at what you're doing and who is actually delivering the message as to what the motive is. Because it's never you delivering the message. You know, you can be jacked up and still deliver a message. For example, Sandra Bullock, not too long after her ex-husband Jesse James was found out to be a racist and cheating on Sandra Bullock with a known white supremacist, did she start showing off her black baby? Did that black baby need a home? Yes. Did Sandra Bullock do The Blind Side? Yes. Was it a great PR opportunity to say, look, everybody, I'm not a racist? Yes. Is Sandra Bullock a racist? I've met the woman. She ain't no racist, but at the end of the day, don't think that wasn't a PR move. So it's 6 in one hand, half a dozen the other. We nitpick over the dumbest shit.
True.
You know? But we're not in control of anything. We don't control anything. And it's our own damn fault. How do we have $1 trillion in spending power, but nothing to show for it? How is it right now? Name a person who is black who can go into Chinatown right now and put up a shop.
In
Name
Chinatown?
one. I'll wait.
Man, you can't even do it in the hood.
No, but I'm just saying you can't. You can go into the hood and actually do your stuff. If you have enough money, you can buy a storefront in the hood, but you won't. Then the people in the hood will complain about how you go into a Chinese restaurant and you got to give them your money through bulletproof glass, but you keep serving, you keep going in there and paying them. You'll talk about how, Arabs or foreigners won't touch your hand when they take your money, but you're going in there and you're paying them. But then you'll go into a black business, if there is a black business in your neighborhood, and talk about the prices are too expensive, or they didn't say hello quick enough, or there's always some kind of issue. But you don't have that criticism when Walmart has 50 checkout aisles and only 2 of them are open. But you'll stand there for those. Yes. I was getting too real. White people come around and take your show.
Yeah, man.
So
and the wiring.
Break. You ain't never having me back on this show.
Shit, we got technical difficulties happening and shit as soon as you start talking, man. Goddamn. What?
Yeah.
Who is listening to you, man?
Yo, man, listen, man, let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you something real, because, a lot of people don't believe this situation, but because when you hear it from people, you think that they're crazy. And so I'm going to tell you the truth. Here's the truth. There is no Illuminati. So let's get that out of the way. There are, however, concerned individuals. And when you reach a certain plateau, those concerned individuals will come to you and they will have what I call the conversation. And depending upon the way that you answer the questions that are asked during that conversation depends on where you go and what you do. I personally will not sell my soul. So that was that. But you have to ask yourself, how is it that Oprah Winfrey, let's just take Oprah for a minute, shall we? Oprah Winfrey went on a rant against Ludacris when Ludacris was doing Crash and they had the press junket. And what wound up happening was... I think I
remember hearing something about this too. Where like Oprah she didn't want Luda on the show because he was a rapper.
On the show. I talked to Ludacris about this. There's tapes of it somewhere. But he was like, yeah, she literally just beat me up. She had a thing against rap, just all rap music, all rappers were misogynistic, drug dealers, this, that, and the third. So stop. Let's put a pin in that for a minute, and I'm going to recite some lyrics to you. Now tell me if this sounds familiar. Where all my niggas with the rubber grips, bust shots, and if you with me, I'll rubbing your tits and whatnot. So why is it that after a certain conversation, Oprah winds up going to Marcy Projects with Jay-Z? Let's take it a step further. Never in the history of cinematic endeavors, even with Going in the Wind, Birth of the Nation, none of that, have you had a situation where somebody says that a book was written by somebody, but you look at the movie Precious, based on the novel Pushed by Sapphire. Now, how do you executive produce something a year after the fact that it was already made? Because apparently Oprah and Tyler Perry had a conversation with the people at Lionsgate, and they were told that they had to endorse this movie in order to keep black people from rioting. Otherwise, how do you explain a situation where there's a girl who's being abused by her mother sexually, raped by her father, having mongoloid babies, winds up with AIDS, and nobody gets outraged. But they keep saying Precious, based on the novel Push by Sapphire. Gabourey Sidibe is every damn where right now. Every damn where right now. When the last time you saw Joy Bryant? So I will take it a step further. Dave Chappelle had the biggest show on the planet. Biggest show on the planet. Made $500 million for Comedy Central. They wanted to give him a 10th.
Right.
He was like, y'all crazy.
When the contract said half or something like that?
Yeah, contract said half. They was trying to give him 10%. And by they said, and he was like, I'm not taking this. I'm going to let my fans know what's going on, this, that, and the third. They said, by the time you leave here, wherever you go, by the time you get back, you'll be branded crazy. Sure enough. Where's Chappelle? Doing shows in nightclubs? Maybe a stadium show here and there? Nothing. Nothing. Cat Williams all of a sudden has all these legal troubles, but Cat Williams is the only one telling the truth. Cat Williams was starting to wake up people. Go back and listen to Cat Williams, any one of his shows, where he tells black people to get in touch with their star player. You know, you got to pick yourself up. He even gives the example of Oscar Pistorius, where he talks about he had, his legs cut off, poor little tink, 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 tink. Yeah, Oscar Pistorius shot his girlfriend. Yeah, y'all believe that, right? Come on. Stop. Think about what's happening, and then thinking about why you're not looking any deeper into it. Because y'all believe that everything that somebody says is some conspiracy theory, and the biggest conspiracy theory is that there really is a conspiracy. Everybody else stays in their lane. We're the variables because we're the original people, so you have to look at it from that perspective. And once you realize that you should not be trying to fight to get into somebody else's system. If somebody who does not look like you is controlling your situation, do you really think Dr. Dre needed Jimmy Iovine for that Beats by Dre situation? With that Apple deal, do you think he needed Jimmy Iovine for that? No. Who won in the East Coast, West Coast beef? Jimmy Iovine. I'm sorry, who distributes Bad Boy Records now?
Jimmy.
Wow. It must be my birthday. Because apparently I'm just pulling these facts out of my ass. So if you make a certain amount of money, the conversation will come your way. And you're either going to put on a dress like Kevin Hart had to do on that one-off episode of Saturday Night Live in order for him to be the king of comedy, no longer Cat Williams. These are things that happen. I ain't make them up. It's known fact. They had a conversation with Wesley Snipes and they got him on taxes. Just saying.
Mike Will made it.
She telling me that she feeling freaky, and she don't usually get this way. She had a couple drinks, she feeling tipsy. I'm guessing she's a lightweight. She got her face in my neck, kissing on me like she wants sex. I dig it, and now I'm thinking what's next. But I kinda feel like I'm taking advantage. She said don't think of me differently, but you're doing something to my mind. She said, baby, please, please believe I'm really hard to find. Because she's a good girl, a good girl, a good girl. She said she's a good girl, a good girl, a good girl. Told me she don't normally really do this type of thing, but she's really feeling me now. But she's a good girl, a good girl, a good girl. She said she knows exactly what she's doing, but she ain't never done this, no. She told me that she hopes after we do this, I won't consider her a hoe. I said I won't lose respect, especially since you kept it real. I dig it. Now I'm knowing what's next, and I don't feel like I'm taking advantage. She said don't think of me differently, but you're doing something to my mind. She said baby please, please believe I'm really hard to find.
That was Blaylock with Good Girl, here on the 9010 Rule.
Okay, yeah. Now, one of the things, like with Prince is a huge conspiracy right now. At least I feel like, because I don't believe that he died of drugs or overdose. Like, that's not some shit that you do older in age. You know? But that's a different conversation. A lot of the disenfranchisement, whether it's systematic or not, whether that's your opinion or whatever, you can debate that. But a lot of the disenfranchisement that black people have, I feel like, is largely due to the lack of ownership of their music.
When have we ever owned our music?
If black people owned black music, where do you think we would be?
Africa. It ain't gonna happen in this country. You can't name me a period where that's happened. And don't pull Ray Charles out of your ass.
Outlier.
Don't hand me Michael Jackson, and I'll get to that in a minute.
Outlier.
But
yeah, because they said Prince had just gotten his masters and did the deal with Jay.
Yeah, but we're talking about three people out of how many artists that have ever existed.
Well, you know, because this is the whole thing. Like when we talk about this campaign that we've done or doing about no more starving artists, right?
Right.
There's a level of peculiarity, at least from my perspective, because if you want to say that JoJo with no talent has been trying to sell his CD to people in Walmart coming out of the store in the parking lot. If JoJo isn't making any money because he's running up on people in Walmart, then that's one thing, right? That's JoJo's fault, right?
Right.
But there are multi-platinum artists, globally successful, diamond-selling artists, and they broke too. You talked about how Gary Coleman died as a security guard in the mall. You talk about how all these artists, legends in their own right, didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. And I think it's something fishy. I think it's something fishy across the board.
How about all the pioneers of hip hop?
Absolutely.
Every one of them.
Absolutely.
And they started the most popular form of music there is in the world.
Did they?
Hell yeah. Hip-hop was supposed to be a fad as far as they thought.
Right.
As far as they knew. Hip-hop was supposed to be here today, gone tomorrow. We ain't got to worry about it no more.
Now Japanese kids are hip-hop and white people are hip-hop.
Let's back this up. Because one thing that I don't do is I don't rewrite history. And in saying that, I am not taking away anything about us.
Okay.
Because our people are people that are so creative that when they did not give us musical instruments in public schools, we took our grandparents' turntables, put them together, and made music off of other music. That's where DJing came from.
Right.
The MC was there to tell everybody how great the DJ was.
Right.
That was the MC's job.
Right.
Then the MC decided he no longer needed the DJ. Here's the problem. The second it became popular, and it's not when you're thinking, because a lot of people think, oh, it was the 90s or 2000 or this, that, and the third. No, the second it became popular was when Deborah Harry went out on a limb
Blondie.
and did Rapture.
Yep.
That's when hip-hop became commercial. Do not get this twisted, because here's the thing. Are you going to riot when someone says, I said a hip? Hop, a hibit to the hip hopping, you don't stop, I'm rocking to. I could go on, but you get my point.
Right.
That's happy music. Happy music makes people happy. Music is the savage beast. So then you move forward. Run DMC did not get to Def Jam until 5 years after Def Jam became an entity. And even with that, everybody talks about Russell, but they don't talk about Rick Rubin. There would be no Def Jam without Rick Rubin.
Truth.
Think about that. And what does Rick Rubin do mostly right now? Rock records?
Yeah, rock. He started a whole other label for rock.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But he was so down. I'm sorry, the last hit Rick Rubin made that anybody cares about is 99 Problems with a Bitch Ain't One.
Truth.
But you don't see the connections here. All right, now when it comes to Prince, let's break this down. Anytime you get out of line, these same interested parties, I'll call them, because they're not the Illuminati, that's a whole different situation. These same interested parties will take note. They'll put a pin in it, and they'll come back when you least expect it, and then you'll catch a bad one. You mean to tell me that somebody who was smart enough to systematically annihilate the system? Kev, I'm going to give you an example. Do you remember when we were in Nashville and Prince did the musicology tour?
Yeah.
All right. That tour made the entire industry change the rules after Prince. Because before Prince, nobody ever thought about this. Prince took the cost of the ticket, inflated it enough to cover the cost of his musicology album, and everybody who came through that door got a copy of that album, and he sold a good 2.5 million just from performing Baby, 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 I'm a Star, and all this others.
Easy.
You know, and Prince was dangerous because Prince was unapologetically black, but he was open to everyone. When you look at that audience, you had people who walked around like Marilyn Manson, you had people walking around like Minister Farrakhan, and they were all there in awe of Prince. You mean to tell me that somebody who was smart enough to hire an attorney, put slave on his face in order to get people to notice what was going on, because he was the second biggest pop artist in the world, only second to Michael Jackson. You mean to tell me somebody that smart didn't have a will? Somebody who was smart enough to make hundreds of records, put them in a vault that only he had the combination for, didn't have a will. And y'all believe that because the news told you that. You believe that Bill Cosby raped all these women because the news told you that. But you don't think that had something to do with the fact that he tried to buy NBC and that it wasn't enough for them to kill Ennis. Y'all just think that these things just happen. So when you look at the bigger picture, you have to look at it for what it is. Hip-hop is being controlled. That's why Talib Kweli, who can arguably rap pretty much anybody under the table, will never, ever, ever get airplay. That is why people like David Banner, who all of a sudden, you know, and I'm not going to say all of a sudden, but he had a wake-up moment when he was overseas and he saw people looking at us, you know, when he had the #1 record in the country, and they were looking at us in a different way, and he saw what the impact of what was happening in hip-hop was doing to the mainstream. Now he got this God Box album ready to drop, and I don't know how much time Banner has left. There are things happening, but we're so wrapped up in ourselves that we don't see it and we write it off. Just like when you watch these elections. Let me ask you, Kev, I've been friends with you for the better part of a decade and some change now. There's nothing you could do that would make me alter that friendship. I would not turn against you. I would not speak out against you publicly. If you and I had an issue, we could solve it like men because we have a basis in friendship. So explain to me how somebody who could stand at somebody else's wedding and say such vehemently evil things about his alleged friend. And if you wonder who I'm talking about, explain to me why Donald Trump is saying all these horrible things about Hillary Clinton when he has been a friend of the Clintons forever. When he was at Chelsea's wedding.
Yeah, they
it's the WWE.
Yeah, that's rigged all day, man. He's a plant. Try it a different way. He's a plant. I believe that he's a plant.
Oh, absolutely. Not only is he a plant, he's the best possible plant in the world. He's a plant that nobody believes is a plant. Not only that, check it out, right? Donald Trump does something that no other politician knows how to do. Donald Trump speaks in sound bites to the lowest common denominator. Donald Trump literally branded every other of those 17 Republican nominees and gave them a title, and everybody bought into it because he used what was called neurolinguistic programming. Donald Trump took Jeb Bush, who turned around Florida, improved education, made several horrible cities in Miami better for black people, and said he was low energy, and he's got a Mexican wife, and you can't trust him. And all anybody heard was low energy. Now, let's take somebody like Mike Huckabee, who wanted to get rid of the illegal organization known as the IRS. And he told him he was unfit. Nobody cares about you. He called Ted Cruz Lion Ted, and everybody believed it. Carly Fiorina, who did save HP but then took an L, is still extremely capable. He told everybody that she was ugly. He literally wiped them out like Eminem did in 8 Mile. And y'all don't think that somebody put the fix in to make sure that she had her turn because she didn't need a monkey wrench like Barack Obama coming again? And when I say monkey wrench, I don't mean it in a racist term. I mean literally throwing a monkey wrench in a design plan of 30 years of Bushes and Clintons.
Good save.
Nah, I took it as a racial. I took it as an insult.
But you know what I mean? You got to dig deeper, man. But we don't. We just, whatever they say, that's what it is. Y'all believe the Zika virus. Y'all believe this Ebola. Yeah, because God forbid you go to see Africa yourself. How many people you know got Ebola? Name them.
I don't even know nobody that thought about that they may have it.
No,
I know a
but
bunch of people that talk shit about it. I don't know nobody that actually like had to go to the doctor. Hey man, don't tell nobody, dog. Don't tell nobody.
That's the point. But if you go to a doctor's office, they'll ask if you've traveled to Africa.
I don't even know nobody that took an Ebola test.
Yeah. But that's all you see on the news. Just like all you see on the news are black women on welfare when the number one minority on welfare is white women. Mm-hmm. And you wonder why your record can't get played? Are you fucking kidding me? Please.
I mean, that does, I guess that does, kind of hold things in perspective.
I'm trying.
But because at the grand scheme, I mean, I think there is a larger, obviously there's a bigger picture. Because when you're just starting out and you're just trying to pursue your dream and get your voice heard, you ain't thinking about all of that. You're not thinking about somebody trying to steal Prince Masters and all that bullshit. You're not. That's way beyond. You just want to get somebody to say, "Yeah, man, that was dope." You know what I mean? Maybe your crush like you now because she heard your song or some shit like that. Or maybe you able to achieve some smaller barrier. But if you starting from scratch, you're not even thinking about that other shit. That's definitely advanced level 501 class.
Yo, but here's my thing though, right? Why is it that everybody else is thinking advanced level 501 class? Why is that so hard for us to process? And then you wonder why everybody just keeps lapping us. And even people who look like us. Nigerians come over here and lap us. Ethiopians come over here and lap us. Hell, people from the Caribbean come over here and lap us.
But you know what, though? I have a theory about that as well, though, David. I feel like the people that come from Nigeria and those countries, what we're doing is we're bringing, that's the best of those people, the people that could afford and had the wherewithal to get out and to journey into the world. So I think that's almost an unfair comparison in some ways because you're comparing everybody here to the best of theirs.
Okay,
I don't even know that. Like, I don't know that Nigeria is sending the best of their people, and I don't know that Mexico is sending the worst. Right? I can't say that. I know that people are coming, and a lot of times when they get here, I mean, if they're here as a student, that's one thing.
Right.
But a lot of people come from overseas, and they're able to get money from the government to be able to start their businesses, buy their home. They're looking in certain neighborhoods, so on and so forth.
Right.
So that if black people are being lapped by foreigners, it's because they're getting a hand up.
But isn't that like the Europeans?
People here at home.
The Europeans that come here to get all that, like the Nigerians have to get here on their own, right? Am I wrong?
No, wrong. Now let's take it a step further because what you said was interesting, and I want to stay there for a minute because your theory is that, they send their best and they come over here. I know plenty of Nigerians, and some of them ain't the damn best. But what it is if you have nothing and you get a hand up and you get subsidies and grants and opportunities to come over here, and you're not going to waste that.
Right.
On top of that, let me help you level the playing field so that you can look at your people a little differently. $1 trillion in buying power annually, at bare minimum. Some people have it as high as $3.7 trillion, but let's just go with $1 trillion, make it nice and even. Every last one of us, even the poorest of us, has a computer in their pocket that has Google. It ain't hard to get information. We don't want it. We don't want it, not because it's hard to attain. We don't want it because we don't want to do the work. And when I say we, I'm talking about a collective we. Right. Obviously, I do the work. Obviously, you do the work. But we're in what's called a very, very small minority. Right. Everybody else wants to get on and live the dream and do all the fly shit, but they don't want to put in the work to do the fly shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But I think a lot of people are scared, man. I mean, they scared to do, because once you find, like, yes, you're absolutely right. The information is out there.
Pretty much.
Right? You Google it, it's going to show up on your phone, right? I don't give a shit what the question is.
Yep.
But once you found that information, once you have it in your hands, once you've read it, once you've downloaded it into your brain, now you have to apply it. Now you got to use it. Now you have to stand on it. And that's some scary shit. Because it is, because honestly, you can't, in particular for black folks, because you can find the truth and you can be dead right.
Mm-hmm.
You can be dead right. You know what I'm saying?
Here's where black people go wrong. I want to tell you everywhere in history where black people went wrong. Black people went wrong because we sought approval from white people. Period.
All right.
The civil rights movement, and this is another thing I hate about our parents and grandparents. They make the civil rights movement about one thing, Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King, before he died, said on record, I feel like I might have integrated my people into a burning house. Martin Luther King, on record, before he died, said, when we go and I come back from this, we're going to D.C. and we're going to get our check. Mm-hmm. When's the last time you heard anybody black talk about reparations that anybody you know cares about? Never. But all you hear is, I have a dream that my 4 little children can sit with the white people and eat Ovaltine and drink milk. You don't hear anything but that. Because once you martyr somebody, you can control the rhetoric.
You sounded exactly like Martin Luther King on the Boondocks.
Niggas are filled with unfulfilled ambitions. Niggas wax and wane. Niggas love to complain. They love to talk but hate to explain.
I appreciate your impersonation on the spot there. You didn't rehearse that.
Like, yo, I got a crazy memory. I'm a smart dude. But in all seriousness, though, you don't talk about Malcolm X. We don't. May 19th happened, came and went. Don't nobody say nothing. That's Malcolm X Day. We don't have no holiday for Malcolm X because Malcolm X said by any means necessary, and everybody took that as, oh, take a gun and go kill all the white people. What he was saying is you need to go up here and make something happen for yourself. You need to go out here and get it.
Do what you
need to have your own. You need to understand that the media is not here for you. You will get nothing by trying to be at somebody else's lunch counter instead of trying to build a lunch counter for your own. We don't want to do that. We want them to love us so much. We got Stockholm Syndrome and won't diagnose it. Why you think you got sisters out here with weave down their back? Why you think you got brothers out here trying to put their worth on their damn sneakers, standing in line because Michael Jordan, who cares nothing about his people, still has these sneakers out here where he gets checks, does nothing for anybody. But y'all call Stephon Marbury crazy. But he had a $15 sneaker using the damn same plants that they make the Jordans. Mm-hmm. So at what point do we stop and just say, okay, this is a choice. Instead of looking for approval from people who don't matter and will never respect you because you come from slavery, let's just call it what it is. Even if you trace your lineage back, which you probably can't, but let's say you trace your lineage back and there's not one slave anywhere in your bloodline, you still look like them. So at the end of the day, they will not respect you. They respect dogs more than respect you. Ask Michael Vick. So at what point do you stop the mass hysteria and say, I need to take care of me and mine? If everybody just took care of me and mine, but we won't do that, then we'll sit up here and we'll look for a savior. So y'all looked for Barack Obama and got disappointed because, oh, shock, Barack ain't us. I know that's not popular. I like the man. I've met the man. I've talked to the man. He's a very nice guy, but he ain't us. Here's what I mean. Barack Obama's father came from Africa. His mother was white. He was raised in Hawaii, and I don't know if you've ever been to Hawaii, but trust me, the natives in Hawaii, even though they are a part of the United States, they can't ball. So if you can ball because you're taller and you just have the genetic makeup to ball, not only do you become the star of the basketball team, but you also become their mascot. So Barry Obama was born. Boom. So by the time Barry Obama got himself over to the mainland, then he started to get his Negro moments when he became a community organizer. But he didn't go through not being picked to play on the baseball team because he was the wrong color. He didn't go through anybody coming at him saying you can't date this person, you can't be in this neighborhood after this amount of time, after the street lights come on, because that's a sundown town thing that he can't relate to. His wife can, but he can't. Mm-hmm. So he didn't get that message until early on. But here's the thing about Barack Obama that's very interesting, and it should piss black people off. Black people marched and sang, and they hopped their way to the voting booth, said, ching, ching, yes, we can, and they let Barack deal with it. But they never told Barack what they wanted. If you ask any Hispanic, ask them what they want, they will automatically in unison say border control. If you ask anybody in the LGBTQ community what they wanted, don't ask, don't tell, repealed, marriage in 50 states, and they got it. You want to know why these groups got it? Because they cut a check. All we did was vote and then complain and went home. And that is why we don't get anywhere. If you want to buy into the whole system, then buy into the whole system. But no, Negroes, you bought them Jordans. No, Negroes, you bought them red bottoms. No, Negroes, you buy them weaves. You buy them whips and them chains, and then wonder why you get whipped and chained to this day.
But what you mean buying into the system? Because the record industry is all I know. That's all I've seen. That's the only way I've seen it done. So,
bro, that's a choice.
Matter of fact, if I'm an artist, so I know that the record industry, they have the machine. They got the machine. How the fuck else I'm gonna get on the cover of Teen People? I don't know them guys. How the hell else I'm gonna get on The View? I need the machine.
Damn a Teen People, damn a View. That's again looking for white approval. You don't need that. If you had your people, you wouldn't need nobody else. You wouldn't. $1 trillion. That's more money than Scrooge McDuck had in his money bin. And you trying to tell me that you need all these other things that don't matter? In an age where all you got to do is, you could put I got records on iTunes right now. Still making money. So what do you need the system for? You need the system because you want to be accepted. You want to be picked first for the baseball team. That's what it comes down. You want White Daddy to love you. You want Mr. Drummond to take you out of obscurity and give you a nice room with Willis and a bunk bed. That's what you want. You don't want to make it happen. You don't want to make good music. You want to be popular because you didn't get any ass in high school. That's what this comes down to. You are running a popularity contest, but you're a grown-ass man. You sound like an idiot. And that's the problem. But see, nobody will tell you that because they're scared to tell you the truth. And the truth is, the reason that you are not successful has less to do with systematic white supremacy than it does your own desire to stay immediately ignorant to everything that's happening around you. Here's another example. If you watch BET, there's always a commercial for Cash for Gold. If you watch VH1 and these Love and Hip Hop reality shows, you'll see a Cash for Gold commercial. Now, if you watch anything that white people watch, the CNBC, the Bloomberg Report, any of that, they'll tell you, go buy gold, buy silver. There's a reason for that. Because the dollar is becoming less and less valuable. But you Negroes won't stay off of BET, VH1, and World Star. Oh, y'all Negroes love screaming World Star, but won't do anything to save your brother while he's getting his head blown off his ass. And then you blame everybody but yourself. You better cut some checks where it matters. And let's forget the president for a minute. When's the last time you actually spent some money on a city council person? When's the last time you actually did anything to improve the political climate in your own city? Yeah, those crickets are the sound of what's going on in your head because you know your ass ain't do shit.
I'm impressed.
So black man, black woman.
Right. Was that your mouth?
That's what it is. Huh?
Like you done a number of impersonations and shit. And damn, you got hidden talent.
He that black guy from Police Academy.
Hey, yo, all right, so talk a little bit more about purchase, pitch, close, upsell, and repeat.
Pitch, close, upsell, repeat. All right. So basically, when you break down the anatomy of a sale, you have 4 parts. I don't care what it is. It always comes down to the pitch, the close, the upsell, and a repeatable process. So let's break them down. A pitch is what you say. So let's say if you're trying to talk to a woman, there's a difference between somebody who has a really crisp mouthpiece and somebody who sounds like a bumbling idiot. Somebody with a crisp mouthpiece will always wind up never alone, always with somebody in their bed. It's the same concept. If you look at Vince from ShamWow, you don't know pretty much anybody else. You know Billy Mays, you know Vince from ShamWow. Why? Because they know how to convey a message very simply. You know, this does this. And then they do what's called the wow demo. The wow demo is actually showing what it is that you're saying. We do a lot of saying, a very little showing. So you have to show people what it is that you're saying. And then when you close them, you want to basically say, look, sign here and here, here's why. Let's go. And you don't give them room to maneuver outside of that. When you're upselling, you get upsold all the time. If you think I'm lying, your black ass went to McDonald's and supersized it. Boom, upsell, good night. Didn't cost them much more. Literally, you can take a medium drink and pour it into a large cup, and it will still be the same amount of liquid. And you dummies keep supersizing it. So you paid for nothing other than to have a bigger cup. So, yeah, and then when it comes down to a repeatable process, McDonald's does not make a better burger than my 70-year-old mother. However, my mother does not have a system of delivering those burgers to every place on earth. So McDonald's has a system of making a grade D burger that's mediocre at best over and over and over again to billions. And they were smart enough to put something up that when you see it, whether you're in a rural setting or whether you're on a highway near a truck stop, if you see those golden arches, you know you can get you can get some food there. And then the most brilliant thing they ever did was say, if you get this meal for your kids, they'll be happy. And then the best part about it is you're not paying for the kids to be happy, and you're not paying for that 50-cent toy. You're paying for just a few moments as a parent where your kid will shut the hell up.
Without violence.
That is priceless.
Right.
So there it is. So pitch, close, upsell, repeat.
Dig that. Yo, Dave, thank you for coming through, man. Like, this was, like, I gotta have you back, man, to talk some more shit, because this was, some of the things that I thought that we would talk about some things, but some stuff that I didn't think we would talk about, we laid in it.
Oh, damn.
We laid in it today.
I'm sorry. Did I mess up y'all's show? I'm sorry.
Hell no. Actually, we got a lot more to discuss. I just don't want to, like, make this a 7-hour show. So, yo, real
That's
shit,
what's
man.
up, man.
Hey, this was awesome, man. Hey, matter of fact, you want to tell the people about where they can listen to your podcast and find you on social media, go buy the book, all of that shit.
All right, well, you can get the book anywhere. Amazon is always great. You can also check out my podcast. It's called The Business Bully Show, and that's exactly what it is. And what I do is I talk to a lot of my celebrity friends and people who are behind the scenes of some of your favorite celebrities, and I break down their business acumen. I break down what they do. David Banner is going to be on my show next week, so we're going to chop it up about his album, The God Box, and really get into what's happening there. So you can go to businessbullyshow.com, just like it sounds. I don't do phonetic Negro spelling. businessbullyshow.com. And all of my information is there. Follow me, all that good stuff. If you go on Facebook, you can find me at The Business Bully. So it's pretty simple, man. I just want people to, wake up and do better for themselves, because relying on somebody to give you a good job is a good way to get into a good grave.
Damn.
Yo, hey, you a nice grave. You got a nice one.
Yo, man, Costco's selling these caskets for like $300.
God.
They nice.
What, they got spinners on them or something?
Hey, bro, some of them do. That's why I'm getting cremated. My big ass ain't getting in no casket. I'm telling you that right now.
Too.
Oh, God. Yo, yeah, hey. Okay, so as far as everybody else is concerned, we're going to go ahead and end the show. And then, Dave, we're going to talk some more shit, man. We're going to come back. So y'all check the rest of the shit on the website, whatever. Man, we're going to get into it. Yeah.
Visit us at the9010rule.com. That's 9010rule.com.